right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight. Guys, we got a really great show lined up for you. Fishing season is really kicking in wide open now. The fish are making love up on the beds or getting ready to. So it's some big fish being brought in. I mean, it's just the fishing season's getting right. It's getting in full swing. I know it's been for a while for a lot of guys, but for us with, just trying to even get on the water, it's been crazy. So we're finally able to we've finally been able to get out on the water here lately, and you guys have seen on our Facebook post and Chris's post, and it's been fun. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I want to thank all our great sponsors. We got some really great companies that back us and support us, and they've been great. They've helped out with our contest. They've done a lot. So I just want to thank Bonafide Kayaks, Native Watercraft, YakAttack, Bioenno Power, Pole, Falcon Rods, Missile Baits, also RBT Custom Baits, and also our in-depth segment with Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters. I want to thank all of them sponsors and all they've done for us. It's been great. It's been great having them. It's been great having Bob back on with us. He was on with us, I'm going to say year 2 into our show, maybe year 1, I can't remember. And then we're back. We're back working together, and really looking forward to building a relationship further on. So, but other than that, man, Chris, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing pretty good.
You finally caught your fish for 2021.
Yeah, finally got one.
So it's which is your first time going out, right?
Yeah,
so
I hadn't been out none this year.
Yeah. So we took my dad's boat out and was finding some bedding fish. It was a grind yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, we could see them, but we just couldn't catch them.
Yeah, it was so many kayak tournaments. I say so many kayak tournaments. So many tournaments going on. It was a kayak tournament. We also had the, I call them BFLs now. They call it the Major League Fishing. I can't remember what they call it, what the full name of it is now. But
yeah,
since Major League Fishing opened. But anyways, it was fun. I caught my first fish on a big swim bait, like the mag draft, the Mega Bass mag draft. I've never caught a bass on a big swim bait. So talk a little bit about that tonight. But we're going to have all the videos up for that here soon. Speaking of that, if you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, either way, please go over and hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. It is growing. We are really excited how far along it's came. It's been great. We got some more content coming. Really looking forward to the content we're going to be putting out here soon. I've been trying to get more out. Just been busy and then fishing and all that. So, but we got more content. It's coming. Really looking forward to you guys seeing it. And it's just, out with the family, out with friends, just out there fishing. It's been great. So, but yeah, other than that, man, I'm like I say, I'm just really excited about this year getting going. Also, I want to apologize for that daggone live video I did just a little while ago. It's like I should have never even hit live on it. It's like my brain was I was all over the place on that one, man.
I was nervous.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It's like as soon as I seen it go live, it was like I totally forgot what all I needed to talk about tonight. So, but we got a good one lined up, guys. We got Lance Burris coming on. He won the All-American Kayak Tournament. He's been on a couple other shows last week. We want to get him on. He's run our mounts. He's on the Bonafide team. Excited to get him on and talk to him. I've never spoke to Lance Burris. Until tonight. We did a pre-show thing, just kind of going over some things and seeing everything would be all right. But to have him on tonight and just kind of sit back and talk fishing, I'm really excited about that. I don't even know how you say the lake that he won on, so I'm going to have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
But, and then also, the KAV is an event that we sponsor. It's one of the events we sponsor this year. We're Casey Reed, hometown angler, won it on Smith Mountain again. I'm telling you what, he's hard to beat on Smith. Really is. He puts the time in and he's able to find them. But the crazy thing is how everything changed so fast in about 2 days on Smith Mountain Lake. So for him to be able to capitalize on it and get the win, it's awesome. So we're going to have Casey Reed on a little bit later after Lance and talk about his big win. I was really excited to see how that went down, and the measurements of how it dropped off at about, I don't know, after 5th place. It was a grind, man. Like I say yesterday, Chris, it was a grind. We found a lot of fish on beds, but either they've been hooked or they've just pulled up on beds and wasn't locked yet.
You couldn't get them to commit.
Yeah, I mean, they were, you flip a bait over there and it took off. You got close, they took off, and the way I like to bed fish is, you can really get a fish to pull tight to bed if you pull up on them a little bit. I don't get right on top of them, but you get a little closer, you'll watch them pull up tight. So, in some situations, if they're really scared, you need to get way away. But anyways, I went back up here with the family today, and there's a whole nother wave coming up. It's getting good. It's getting really good. And another thing I seen too, swimming up on the rocks today, as I was telling you earlier, Chris, was the shad.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be long, guys. The shad spawn is going to be on fire, and I'm excited about that. And that's one thing that I'm setting up for right now is to do more night videos. So there's going to be some in the boat. There's going to be some in the kayak. We're just going to be ripping and running all over the place and doing everything we can to get the best content we can get you guys. And hopefully maybe help you guys get out there and catch some fish too when out on the water. But, Chris, what time we got?
Oh, what time is it here? 8:07.
8:07. Let's get ready to go. Let's go ahead and call Lance and get him on the phone, and let's talk about his big win and, what's some of the top baits he likes to throw. Might have caught him off guard.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Hey, Lance, how you doing, buddy? We got you, Lance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting there.
You're fine, man. You're fine. We got you on a little earlier, and it going through our intro a lot quicker than we thought we were tonight. We'll let Lance, he'll get all set up. But Lance, he won the All-American Kayak Tournament. Like I say, I'm going to let him say the name of that lake because I don't know how to say the name of that lake. But we're going to talk about his win, how he's able to put it together, and then we're also going to be talking about his year. So, but how you doing, man? We got y'all. I see you up on the screen there. How you doing tonight, man?
Been good.
Good. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk with us. I know you've been busy. You've talked to some other podcasts and probably told this story 20 times, but we're excited to get you on here and try to get ask some other questions and see how it all went down for you. But talk about that a little bit, man. Let's talk about it. I mean, I've been following you. I know we're on the Bonafide team together. I've been following your tournaments and seeing. I like following a lot of the guys on the Bonafide team and seeing how they're doing. And you've been getting some consistent finishes. You're having a good year. Talk about last year. How was last year for you before we get into this year?
Last year actually wasn't bad. I decided to try a little bit of some national events. So I hit the couple of bass series and ended up having, I think, 2 5th place and 8th place, and then a 27th or something like that.
Yeah.
But kind of was able to keep in the money.
Yeah. But no, that's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I fished all our local series also here, local club, Moyak, and they've been growing pretty good size for just no longer I've been in it. It's been almost doubling every year. And so it's ended up with the AOY in that last year.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you've been consistent, and consistency, you'll win. You know what I mean? Like, it'll eventually happen. And it did for you. You've had some good finishes, and you finally was able to get to win. It's hard to win these things, man. They ain't easy.
Yeah, it's got to be your day.
Yeah. Everything's got to line up perfect. No missed fish or too many missed fish. And just a little bit of luck and like say and preparation but like say kind of talking about your big win you got. How much practice did you have for that event?
I had one day. I drove down Friday morning. It was about a 5.5 hour drive, and drove in, just dumped in the water, and I had 2 places I wanted to try out on basically opposite ends of the lake, so they weren't a very short drive in between. So I got, I think pre-fishing was over by 4 o'clock, so I was off the water by 3, and I kind of had a little idea of what I was going to do.
Yeah. Now, can you tell me the name of that lake? I've been trying.
Lake Ouachita.
Okay, Ouachita. I was asking Chris because Chris normally can pronounce some things a lot better. I'm very illiterate when it comes to reading, and I was like, "Man, how do you say this?" He's like, "I don't know." So I was like, "I'm gonna let him say it because I don't want to sound funny about it." But no, that's great, man. I'm glad to see you get that, and like say going into with your practice. I mean, did you feel like that you had what it was gonna need to win this thing, or
Not at all.
not at all?
No, my first place was basically a complete blowout. I just wanted to rule out that clear water wasn't going to be where I was headed. So I got that out of the way. Went to what I usually do and really wasn't sure on it because I didn't get there till probably about 12:30 in the afternoon. So I had no idea what kind of morning bite was. And the sun was high, so I kind of knew what I could do in the afternoon, which is what I was kind of looking for, because usually the afternoon bite's what kills me and makes me not, kind of holds me back from what I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I can usually catch myself pretty quick, but yeah, the next day it was completely different. So I didn't find a whole lot of fish when I went there. They just caught more than the first place, so I decided to start there first.
Yeah. Well, what was your main pattern and baits that you were using to be able to get that win?
So I kind of stumbled across it whenever I didn't. So I guess whenever I first got there, the water had been cooled down quite a bit overnight, so they weren't up in the bushes like they normally were, and so I kind of went running. Just started headed out because I figured they kind of dropped back a little bit. So I ran across a bluff line, just kind of running out of bank to try. And I was throwing spinner baits and chatter baits and kind of just whatever I could to find the bite first. And just stumbled across a green pumpkin chatter bait, the cross eyes, new with the two little wires to make it weedless.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of allowed me to drag it through the bushes and some grass and stuff like that without just hanging up all the time. So
yeah, do you
kind of dropped it off.
Do you run any trailers with those? I mean, what kind of trailers are you running?
I do. I run a Strike King Rage Menace. Typically a green pumpkin on there, just so I can kind of change the color as I need with some dip and glow.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I'm telling you what. I don't know how it is for you, but it seems like all year long, it's some kind of vibrating jig. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to say brand specific here, but I mean, it's like some kind of, we've talked to guys, the homemade ones. We've talked to guys that fish different brands, Jackhammer, everybody knows, you know what I mean? But
mm-hmm.
I mean, it is something about that. Is that a bait that you throw all year long, or is it just kind of when you're waiting for some muddy water, high water?
I do. I usually throw it more in the cooler water. Pretty much if they don't need a spinner bait, I throw a chatter bait. So it's just something I go back and forth to. Just have a few select colors, and really just depends on water clarity at that point. But it's I've usually always got one tied on in the morning and a spinner bait at the same time.
Yeah,
kind of roll one or the other out.
Yeah, and I'm a big spinnerbait guy. I love a spinnerbait. Chris will tell you, I have got one tied on all year long. I mean, all year long I have a spinnerbait tied on. And
Yep.
But I always struggle because like it seems like a vibrating jig is like what I need for early in the year or later in the year. I don't do well with them in the summer, but I got buddies that do. But like say you were just talking, you throw that when a spinnerbait bite ain't working. Is there? Trying to think. How do you know when to put down a spinnerbait? You know what I mean? Like, I know we say, oh, well, because I ain't getting bites. But how long do you go before you decide that I better throw a chatterbait?
If I'm not getting bites on it, I'll still keep it on just because I still can't really rule out it's not going to be there. If I tend to find that they're closer to cover, I will throw a chatterbait closer to it because kind of like flipping a jig. Spinnerbait, you can get close to it, but you can't. You can't drop it in little pockets like you can a vibrating jig or say it's just something throughout the day. You can usually keep them both on, but if I tend to get more bites on one or the other, then I'll rule one out. If I'm looking for one bigger bite, I will tend to pick my spinnerbait up and just throw it until I find it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm like you. Like I say, you can pitch around a spinnerbait, but you can't get it down into the juice. You know what I mean? You can't get it down in them little pockets there. So yeah, that's where I always struggle. Of just like most time, if I can bust them on a spinnerbait, that's what I'm going to throw all day long. But Bugs Island, for instance, in March, I got like 2 different chatterbaits tied on then. 2 different colors, and it's just that's a great lake to throw a chatterbait on because, like I say, that lake gets up in the bushes too. It floods, and it gets up in the bushes every year, and it's just phenomenal fishing. So. But let's got to get into your day there. You launched in the morning. How long did it take before you was able to get your first one in the boat?
It took about an hour. Kind of surprised me. I was expecting just a great morning bite. I mean, it was in a good spot. Found there's a lot of fish in the area, and so it took about an hour before I got my first, I believe, and then it was about 9. Let's see, about 9:30 before I had my 5th. So whenever I kind of rolled across them, most of them came within one bank, and kind of put a quick little pattern together and just targeted it. And then after that, just kind of went searching because I didn't have a whole lot of that bank to deal with. So it was sun started going up. I knew I had to transition back to where I knew they're going to hold a little tighter the cover.
Yeah. Did you keep an eye on the scoreboard through the day, or did you just kind of just try to like not worry about it?
I did a little bit because I was kind of curious in the morning since I wasn't getting the bites. I was curious on if anybody else was, and I never got to talk to a whole lot of people about how their bites were, which I know there wasn't a lot of service. So I didn't rely a whole lot on what I could see on there. I figured after 2:30, fish would just be getting dumped in whenever people got service. So
yeah,
I really didn't feel confident at the end whether I had it or not. I felt pretty good about getting a check, but I've had that feeling quite a bit, and it got turned around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying, well, before I get to that, I mean, when you caught your last fish, I mean, was there any thought in your head that you had a chance, or were you just still kind of like, I'm sure they probably got them?
I mean, not knowing the lake, there wasn't a whole lot you could research on it. It's to me almost like a hidden lake. You don't see much. There weren't a lot of videos to watch. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. So I didn't know really the size of fish you could be catching or the quantity. I knew just as hard as I was fishing that, and for what bites that I got, I felt like there's probably quite a few people catching fish. But normally whenever I do an out-of-state event, I'll give myself at least 2 to 3 days of pre-fishing just so I can rule out kind of the whole lake, break it down, really have an idea of how the fish are biting. So that way I kind of know what I should be doing a little bit better. But I was really just kind of fishing in the dark on this one, and I guess got a little lucky. But yeah, that last upgrade, getting rid of a 13 with the 16.5, made it feel pretty good. So
Yeah.
I felt a lot better on that one.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always that point in your head, like, especially if you get into the upper 80s, into the 90s. It depends on the lake too. Some lakes just fish smaller, so if you like, well, man, if I got 70 inches, it could be good. But I mean, depending on how your practice goes, and once you get to the 80s and 90s, you're kind of like, oh man, I think I got a chance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then when you're there and at check in, and then they're calling names, and you know what you got, that's when the nerves really start setting in. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, when they're calling everybody's name out and they start getting in the top 5, I mean, you're probably, what do you think? Like, holy crap, I might have got this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, buddy of mine, Brian Hillman, kind of had me worried a little bit. He came in, and I knew he was close to 80. And then he said he made 3 upgrades in the last 30 minutes. And one of them, like right after he said that, he got called up for big bass for 20 and a half or 20 and a quarter. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, there it all goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have felt a lot better if I had a big fish, but my biggest was only 18 3/4, so I just had a good average.
Yeah. Yeah. It's That's awesome, though, man. Like I say, it's when them things happen unexpectedly like that, that's the best feeling in the world. It's just
Yeah.
like it actually takes you a couple days to kind of like let it sink in. Like, man, I just won this. Like you
Yeah.
had pictures of your car ride home. I like you had the trophy buckled in, and and then I see another picture with a big check. I mean, when you start holding that, man, it's like it still ain't sunk in. When you win them big events like that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That you got that. And let's kind of dig into Lance a little bit, man. I've been following you for the last couple years and seeing, I kind of like say started knowing you through the Bonafide team or just hearing about you, and just want to know a little bit more about you. What got you into fishing? What got you into fishing in the kayak tournaments?
So I've fished my whole life. I fished out of bass boats and stuff, and done a lot of local tournaments. Never really got anything big. My brother-in-law, Mike Kiefer, he actually got me into kayak tournaments. I've done some kayak fishing stuff quite a bit, just out of, rivers and streams and stuff. So he got me into a local river club, and kind of got me hooked on that because it was kind of made me realize that in the kayak world, it's a little more challenging just because you're limited to the water you're on. You can't just haul off and go run 15 miles and try something different unless you go by truck. So it makes you fish a little harder where you're at. And I actually kind of feel like I could do better in the bass boat tournament now just because of what I've learned doing this and fishing different lakes and picking up the different stages and stuff and just learning more about kind of bass in general.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you said that because I was talking to James today. I was actually talking to my wife about it. I was like, because I've been fishing out of my dad's boat for the last couple of days and going back and hitting old stuff and stuff I used to fish. And I'm just like, man, I catch so many more fish now. Like I hunkered down a little bit more and trying new things in areas that I would have probably never really fished in a bass boat. Bass boats, you make your milk runs, man. You got what you want to hit, and that's it. You don't fish more stuff. You don't find those hidden spots in those spots. And since I've been fishing the kayak stuff and one of the ramps I put in at, I could run there with a bass boat now and stay on the rest of the day. That's how I feel. I feel confident there's enough fish in there, to do well on most days. And like I say, I just think it's really cool how you brought that up. You were into bass boats, didn't do as great as you were, like say, in your kayak and stuff now. And now you feel like you could do better, going back into the bass boat stuff. And that's great. I think that's a great point. Chris, you said we got a question real quick?
Yeah. How long do you spend on a spot without a bite before moving on?
So I'm not one to, well, there's a reason why I don't have spot lock. I don't tend to hold still very long. I fish a lot of moving baits, a lot of power baits. If I don't catch much in an area, I'll give the area about 2 hours max in like an entire arm. And if they're not there, I'll pull up and leave because if they're not biting the way I'm fishing, they're biting somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'll move on and look for something different.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Kind of digging back in, you're talking about you got into the kayak thing now, and what's key? What did you make you want to say, hey, I'm gonna go a bit bigger in the kayaking scene? Fishing small events and all that stuff. What made you think, I think I got a chance at doing this. I want to travel and fish more of these. What kind of got you that part? I know you was talking about your buddy got you into it, but what really got you wanting to go and try more?
It seemed like the longer I've done it, because I got into it, I guess it was the fall of 2017. I fished one tournament, and then I had to wait the whole next season to start up again. But I guess it was fishing the last TOC event before it was taken over by AJ, and getting second in that down on Lake Fork, and all I had was a paddle, made me kind of wonder if this was my thing. So the longer I've gotten into it, I feel like I've placed a little bit higher, a little bit closer to where I want to be, and just kind of figuring out and getting used to it and getting everything set up the way I need to. And last year was kind of the deciding factor of whenever Bass came out with their events, that I thought, well, I'll just go fish 4 of them. That way I can fish the classic. That was my entire goal. And then qualifying the first one, and then the second one, I was like, well, maybe I'm doing a little better than I thought I could. So I thought maybe I'll just try a few more of them this year.
Yeah, I mean it's addicting. The kayaking, because I mean you don't have to. I mean you can dump some money into it. I mean people, they're like, oh man, you got all that money wrapped up in a kayak. You can dump some money in it, but when it comes to the traveling expenses, it's not as bad as it is yanking a bass boat all around. I mean, for one, most people got to have you can't just go pay cash for a bass boat, depending on what year model you get, especially now with boats being at $80,000-$90,000. So, I mean, you got the expense of that. You got your insurance, gas, and all that stuff. Which you got gas in your vehicle, you got to get there. But it's really not a lot of expense in the kayaking side. Most of your expense is in your entry fees. I mean, and depending on where you stay at. But a lot of times, kayaking and the bass boat sides like this, it gets pretty tight knit. You can stay with a group of guys and rent a house, or hell, stay in your truck if you want to, and fish those events. And like you got one day of practice in.
Yeah.
And was able to get it done. Some of these guys are not able to get that much time to practice. They just kind of show up and fish it, So, but like say you said earlier, normally you try to get 2 to 3 days of practice. And do you feel like if you got any more of that, like it would kind of spin you out? I mean, do you think 2 or 3 days is enough?
Kind of look at it where I want 3 max. Anything before that, depending on the time of the year, things change.
Yeah.
I mean, between the weather and so unless it's just going to be bluebird skies and just nothing's changing all the way till tournament day, typically you can find what you need in 2 to 3 days, and or at least just rule out water where you don't need to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what I wished, for like the KBF trails I wish there was some kind of a limit, where it's only like how the elites are, 2 to 3 days. That's all you get. 'Cause some of these guys, man, they can get they can get a whole week out there. But like I say, sometimes a week will hurt you. I think it will spin you out, and you fish too much water. And then sometimes you got so much data, you don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, when it comes to ruling out areas, now I know it's easy to say, well, if I didn't catch it on there, that spot's ruled out. That's simple. Let's say you go in and you got a couple of spots where you caught a couple 2s and 3s, and you got another spot you caught a couple 2s and 3s. What's the deciding factor? Okay, where am I going to go?
At that point, I go for what's the best quality.
Yeah.
Quality, quantity, what was easiest. If the place fished just like I like to, and I caught more numbers there than I did the others. Because if I go and I catch 2 big fish out of one spot, I feel pretty good about that spot. But if I keep fishing that to make sure I catch a 3rd one and I don't catch it, I probably won't be going back, just because of the fact that I don't feel confident I can get the limit. Now, I might say that for my back pocket, so if I need a 1 big fish and I can run back to it, I'll head back to that for one bite. But I kind of keep it open for that. Fill the limit first, and then go find your big fish afterwards.
Yeah. That was me when we went and fished Lake Chickamauga in the fall. Had a couple good spots. Me and James and Jason are all kind of putting our heads together, and and I'm just kind of like, I had a spot that I caught some fish, and I should have went there first, but then I had another spot where I seen a lot of fish, and caught a couple that were just on a shad bite. The other ones I caught were similar to a shad and a shaky head bite, so I knew that I could probably get more bites running a little swim bait and a shaky head. But I seen them fish schooling, and I knew they were there, and that just threw me off. And that, like I say, we were there for several days, and I think, like I say, a lot of data can really, really hurt you when you got so many different ramps that you want to fish at. But, Chris, you said we got a question?
Yeah, what turned you on to Bonafide Kayaks, and why not any other brand?
So, kind of another story. So, buddy of mine, Justin Swast, he was a rep around there here. I'm sure a few people know him, but he kind of saw how I was doing. kind of got me into it, got me into one. And once I stepped into it, I've been in a few other kayaks, but once I stepped into it, the stability and just the whole layout, I mean, it fit perfect for everything I need to do. Everything's easy to get to. I'm not the most organized on the water, so that junk drawer is a must of just cut, drop, retie, and I mean, just the whole layout of it.
Yeah.
But as far as not weighing over 100 pounds, that was a big one, because a lot of times I'm launching by myself, and I'll pull out and launch 3 different times in a day if I need to. And being able to handle that whole thing and throw it up on a roof rack by myself is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. And that's what's tough too. Like say when you're in the middle of a tournament situation, you want to make a call. That's a big call to go to a new spot because of the breakdown process. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to break it all the way down to get it on top of the truck. So, have you ever thought about going and getting a trailer and doing it that way, or are you still just kind of like, you know, I know some people can't because of where they live and their housing set up. Have you ever thought about getting a trailer for it?
I've got a trailer, and I used to haul it back when I was, whenever I was running some of the longer, when I first got into it and I was doing some of the out-of-state ones, I actually just pulled it behind our Malibu and went to some of the concrete ramps, but then realized that there's some places I wanted to go that the car and trailer weren't going to allow me to.
Yeah.
So just more mobility at that point, being able to throw it up on top or throw it in the bed. Typically, I'll just throw it in the bed whenever I'm running around the lake, but whenever I travel home long distance, I'll throw it up on top just so my weekend's not ruined by somebody tailgating.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was, you know, I had a vibe a while back, and that's what I was throwing that dude on top of the Tahoe. And I like fishing at night, so I'll fish till, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And trying to load that thing up after fishing all night about killed me. And I was like, I about threw my back out one night trying to throw that daggone vibe on top of the Tahoe. And I said, I ain't doing it again. That's when me and my wife got to looking and found a jet ski trailer. And now that we got some Bonafides and Titans, or Bonafide and natives, there ain't no way that I would ever pick one of them natives up and throw in the daggone on the top of a truck. So, being like I say, I get what you're saying too, because there is some ramps that's hard to get in there and get turned around, and get a kayak off a trailer, because it just, some of them are tight. So, but yeah, it's tough, man, throwing all that stuff up in the back of a truck and trying to. I know when I was at Chickamauga, I got to a point on the tournament day that I was so aggravated not catching nothing. I think I loaded mine up on a trailer and had everything on it. I didn't take nothing out of it. Rods, GoPros hanging on the back, I was gone. I was heading up the road, man, going to a new spot. But no, man, that's good. I'm glad to see you. Like I say, glad to have you on the team. You're doing great. You just got on the factory team this year. Was you on it last year too, Lance?
No, I got on the Bonafide team. I guess it was right after what was that? It was about February, March, whenever I was asked to join the team at one of the bass events. I ran into Justin Floyd, and he goes, "Hey, I noticed in some of your pictures that you're running a Bonafide." He goes, "Why aren't you running a Bonafide team?" Like, nobody's asked me. Like, welcome to the Bonafide team. So I was on regional last year, and then got to be on the factory this year.
That's great. And me and James was sitting there kind of, playing through our head when we wanted to do the big meeting and all that. And we kind of sit down, like, if it was our team, like, who we'd have on there, and your name was one of them. And to have you, and I seen, a guy, Shane, I can't ever think his last name right. Lemons or Lemons. Him being on there. Sorry, Shane, I got your last name wrong. I always say it wrong. But to have you two guys on there, I just thought, and Barry Davis, and I just thought it was great seeing you guys on there, and because y'all represent the team well. Y'all fish a lot. Y'all do well. Y'all take good pictures and promoting the brand, and like I say, it's just great having you guys on there, and it was well deserved for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But Chris, do we got any more questions for Lance? Is that it? Anything come through YouTube?
How many rods do you normally run with?
5 to 6.
Man.
5 if I can. 6 is if I'm completely lost on what I'm going to catch them on.
Yeah. I mean, what's your typical when you're going? I know it's different because each lake is different, and then everybody's got their strategy. But what is the one bait that is tied, or two baits that are always tied on, no matter what, no matter where you go?
Spinnerbait, chatterbait, buzzbait. No matter
There
where
you
I
go.
go, those 3 are on there. Unless it's really, really early.
Yeah.
But typically anything 65 plus, the buzzbait starts getting thrown on there because it's got me big bass for quite a few tournaments.
Yeah, a buzzbait's hard to beat. It's fun to fish, and like I say, it catches big fish too. So,
Yeah.
so then all you gotta do is worry about the other 3 rods. So those are already taken care of. So it's always just the other 3 rods you gotta worry about. So, but I know we're talking about your buzzbait and your spinnerbait and chatterbait. Is there what's your let's say your plan B or plan C bait? Well, I guess be D. What is your next bait that you're going to fall in line? Is there do you do any finesse fishing? Is there something that you like to throw if you're not getting absolutely nothing?
As close I get to finesse fishing is just, flip and jig. I don't go my spinning rod. I've gotten where when we were down on, I think it was on Chick, I actually picked up and threw a Ned rig just because I was almost desperate at that point. But yeah, it's the other couple rods, they'll always have either a jig or some kind of a brush hog or something on, just so if I get close to that log that maybe I missed a bite or sun comes up, it's always got a place for it. And those are kind of my underwater backups to move a little bit slower.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love a brush. Once summertime hits, that's what because when we fish Bugs Island, that's what I throw in a Carolina rig in there a lot. I either throw a Missile Baits Baby Destroyer or I throw a Brush Hog. That's the only 2 baits I mainly throw on a Carolina rig. And like I say, Brush Hog, that has been my go-to for years, just fishing Bugs Island. Chris, I think me and you got to throwing that after I fished a tournament down there with one of the guys. And
Oh yeah.
that's been our go-to. We don't throw it much anymore like we used to, but we used to throw it pretty hot and heavy. I love a Brush Hog. It's hard to beat a Brush Hog.
Yeah.
But Lance, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I don't want to hold you up much more. Big congratulations to you on your win, and I hope you keep the momentum going from last year to this year, and to keep it going like you're doing. It really shows what kind of angler you are. You're focused and you're dialed in, and you just take your time and do your thing. You know what I mean? So and it's hard to get many guys like that stay consistent. You got guys that'll win, and then they'll go 0, and we all do it. But you've been pretty consistent, and it's good to see that. And I like seeing that. So, but man, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us tonight, Lance. I wish you best of luck the rest of this year, and look forward. Hopefully, maybe we get you back on and get another win.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. If anyone wants to watch, I'm gonna go try to get a little bit of Humboldt. This weekend we're gonna have a big bass bash down here at Lake the Ozarks and Truman Lake, so they split it up on 2 different lakes. And it's a bass boat tournament, but they allow kayakers, so I'm going to give it a try, see what happens, and there will be about probably 3,000 boats in it.
Oh wow, yeah. How do you gonna get it back to the? You just gonna fish right around there? How you gonna get it back to the weigh-in? Are you just gonna have like a cooler or something for a live well, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna fish within about 10 miles of it, and if I catch anything worth hauling in, I'm gonna have a live well set up in the back, and I'll just start working my way there because normally I cover 10, 15 miles a day, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just work my way back to the ramp or back to the weigh-in, and I think I can get a ride from a vehicle to get back to my truck for a little test or ride back.
No, that's cool, man. We're gonna follow along on that because I like seeing the guys do those events. I wanted to do one at Smith like that one time, but I just have no way to carry. They do 3 fish limits here, and I have no way to carry 3 limits. I probably could on the Titan, but I don't know. I just never did. I thought it'd be really cool to do something like that. Weigh in a big bass boat tournament.
Yeah.
You really tick somebody off, you win one of them in a kayak.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to you, man. Looking forward to seeing how that turns out. You said this weekend?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck to you on that, and like I say, I'll keep an eye on. I want to see how you do, man. But anyways, man, I appreciate it. You have a good one, and good luck this year, Lance.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, man. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was nice to finally have the opportunity to sit down and just kind of talk with Lance one-on-one.
Sorry I didn't get your question, Jillian.
Oh, that's my
I'm
fault
having
too.
to read the questions off the TV. For some reason, the computer's not showing them for some reason.
Oh, yeah. What was their question? Let's ask her a question. Let's see what she.
What motor are you running on your kayak, and what type of battery, and how many amp hours?
He was running a Torpedo. The reason why I know that is because he just ordered that mount he had in the back. That was one he just got from us for this year. He was running the actuated, and then he went to the non-actuated. And then I'm sure it's it was the 1103 that he's running.
Oh, okay.
So. But yeah, sorry we didn't get to that. I know Chris had a couple questions coming through, and I kept going to the next subject, and I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta get to that other question." But I appreciate everybody that has been tuned in so far. If you're here right now on Facebook or on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button and let us know where you're listening from. I know we got a couple people in here right now. Let us know where you're listening from, and we're just going to try to get a giveaway from Ron, but. He wasn't able to get back with us in time. It was last minute when we asked. Totally, you know me.
Yeah.
It's last minute, man, when I'm going to do something. We've been fishing today. I didn't even think about it. But our next guest that we're going to have on, we're going to have him on here in just a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about, I might see if Chris can get it. I don't know. I don't know if you can grab it or not there, Chris. Are you doing something right at the moment?
No, I'm just sitting here.
Let's get to, can you see the mag draft over there on that one?
Yeah.
It's easier for you to kind of roll out of there than what me having to move everything. That mag draft right there on the fishing rods. I just want to share everybody, if you don't know what a mag draft is, I know a lot of you probably, it's that big white swim bait.
I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it?
Hold on a minute.
It's right there. Oh, okay. It's buried under the other rod.
But anyways, this was something I was actually working a point with. This is the first time I've ever hung. And I was talking about this story at the beginning. This is the first time I've ever hung one on a big swim bait. But I'm gonna tell you what. I don't know. You might not be able to see it in there right now. But let me see that real quick. This right here. Like I say, never fished big swim baits. I'm learning this. I've been watching YouTube videos like crazy with Chris Zaldane and how to work these things and how to use them, and I'm very impressed with it. I mean, I guess I was working it right. I caught the one, and we had several followers, and then Tammy my wife was throwing it today, and we had a big one that followed it twice. That was actually cruising around with another fish that was on bed. This one wouldn't ever go, but every time we brought it by, it would follow it almost back to the boat. But I'm gonna tell you what, I've thrown a couple of them. But this right here, I mean, you got to work it really slow, but I have loved throwing this bait so far. And like I couldn't keep it out of my hand yesterday, especially after I caught that big one.
No, you couldn't.
But I mean, I threw it several times before, just trying to figure it out and use this thing, because I know this is not a bait that you'll catch a lot of fish on. It's kind of like a jig, but the ones you're going to most of the time you're going to catch are going to be decent fish. I mean, it'd be risky to go all tournament long throwing something like that, but it was pretty fun, and I just got that with a Rio SX with the 15-pound test on the this is the Amistad rod, which I'll go over a little bit in our last video that we did. But like I say, that was fun, and I mean, I want to see if I can use this thing all year. I don't know. Is any of you guys that are watching right now, do y'all throw big swim baits? Do y'all throw anything big like this? I mean, this is probably 6 inches, something like that, 6-inch swim bait, but. Now, at nighttime is a little different. I'll get into throwing, like, thunder sticks and stuff like that. And they're big. You'll catch big bass. You'll catch big stripers. But here in a minute, we're going to have Casey on, and we might dig into a little bit of the night bite. I don't know how deep he will go with baits and all that stuff, but he does really well. He loves the shad spawn in Smith Lake. And what I was trying to get at with that is something I'd like to try to maybe use this year with the shad spawn going on at nighttime. Chris, we got a question. Is it somebody? Does anybody say anything about Faith Big Swim Baits or anything?
No, they're just saying hello.
Oh, okay. What's going on? Oh, is that Craig?
Craig Bashirs and Shane Lamone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lemon. I guess I said his name right.
Yep, that's Shane. And then
Jillian likes big Keytech swing impact.
yes, that it. The key, the which I was told the other day, it was Kayak.
Keytech?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Well.
I always said Keytech too.
Okay, well.
I think it was Craig that was actually, because Craig's on with Kayak.
Okay.
And he was telling me and James, because I always called him Keytech. But that's what I always look like to me. So
I don't know what to call them because I can't never find them.
Tackle Warehouse, man. That's where you got to get them. Pro's Choice up here has them. If we ever get time, we'll go by. We'll have to go by there. Which I picked up 2 baits up there at Captain's Quarters today that I'll show you after the show.
All right.
That they don't make no more. And I'm not going to tell you guys about it. I might talk about it in Tuesday night. Or I don't know. Me and James might talk about it. For you guys, too, that haven't, now some of you guys that are here now, we do a Tuesday tackle talk around, we were going to do them at 8, but we've been out fishing. So it's been closer to 9 when we do them. So if you guys can tune in on Tuesday nights, you want to talk about laid back. It is laid back. We have a good time. We got a few friends that come on and we pick back and forth with things. It's always some kind of shenanigans or something that's just funny, when we're messing around with one another and all that. So that's where, I don't know if you've seen anything come up. That's where the get bow mounted slogan comes. I don't know if you've seen any of that pop up here lately, Chris. One objective, get bow mounted. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Craig did a little thing about it, but I'm gonna let you guys go back and just check out the the last Tuesday night video.
Craig says to tell Josh to get bow mounted in the comments.
Yeah.
As I scroll back through them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. It was James.
Richard Cummings on YouTube says he likes the Mega Bass Mag Draft as money, and the Dark Sleeper is awesome as well.
Oh wow, the Dark Sleeper, is that it? Color wise, is that what he's talking about?
I believe so. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I just got more of the white shadow looking colors this time.
Yeah.
But I was throwing another one the day before. Now the one thing that I have come to find out with these is they got the magnet piece in there, but for 2 of them that I've thrown, the one I threw yesterday that came out, so I switched over to the pearl, which I threw for a little while, and I went to the pearl and the magnet came out of that one too. So I don't know if you guys have that issue, but the hook still stays in there pretty daggone decently. I mean, it's not too bad, but I don't know if you guys had that issue. But anyways, like I say, if you're just tuning in, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, and share this video. Chris, let's go ahead and see if we can get. Let me message Casey first and see if he's ready to come on. Also, guys, if you haven't, go on oneobjectivebf.com. We got our stickers. We also got our shirt. Newest shirt come on. If you haven't seen it yet, we got a couple guys that have, or several of you have. We've had a lot of orders with it. But this is a new shirt we come out. It's just kind of just kind of making a statement here. We're American made. Everything's made in-house by us. I mean, there's really no outsourcing or any of that stuff. And it's all, like I say, made in the United States. So if you don't mind, check us out on oneobjectivebf.com. And then check out One Objective swag. We also got a few limited run hats left. I don't know what we got left in the camo. I think we got a couple more in the gray here, and a couple more maybe in the black. And then I don't know if we got any more camo or not. I can't remember. So
Richard says Dark Sleeper is one of their other models. It bumps the bottom.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. I'll have to go look at that.
Danny Johnson says he throws big baits, but he's still a rookie with them.
Yeah, I'm still learning. This thing. I like watching the Zaldine videos and all that stuff and seeing him catch it because he's made a living throwing them big swim bait. So I just like I say, it'd be nice to make a living off of them, but I like to just catch more big fish. That fish was like, I don't know, it was like close to 5 pounds. That one I caught. You think, Chris? You think it was about?
Yeah, it's about every bit of 5, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean it was a beast, man. To watch it come up, it was Hold on, let me send this to Chris. Casey. But yeah, it was fun, man. And after that, I was addicted. Like it's like working a spinnerbait, You see him come up and just nail it, dude. It was insane. So, but other than that, yeah. But I should hear something back from Casey here in just a little bit. We'll get him. Yeah, he said. Hold on a minute. I'll let him know. We'll call him on Skype. But
Are we video calling him or just?
yeah, we're gonna do video.
All right.
So, but yeah, go ahead and call him and see
All right.
if we can get him lined up. I think we got it. We got you, Casey.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Casey? How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How about you?
Oh, not too bad, man. Sorry, it's last minute getting with you tonight, man. I've been fishing all weekend too, and I was like, man, I got to line something else up for the show, and then
You gotta hit the camera button.
oh, just Chris said hit the camera button if you don't mind down there in the bottom.
There he is.
Gotcha. There we go. Everything else look good, Chris?
Yeah.
All right. But it made sense, being that, you know, we're helping sponsor the KA event this year, to have, I mean, we got a good friend that just won it. You better get him on. You know, that's what I'm thinking. So, congratulations to you on that, man. You're a hard dude to beat on Smith. And I mean, and that ain't even like, you fish another lake more than you do Smith, but every time it's a big event on Smith here lately, you taking people's money. You know what I mean? So, big congratulations to you on that, though, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
I know we really ain't been able to get out and fish against each other here in the last. I think we went and fished Chickamauga. You were down there and fished that, but we haven't done really no tournaments to kind of get out and fish with you or against you or any of that stuff, man. But like I said, we've been following along, and to be able to see a hometown guy do well and make a name for themselves, you've made a name for yourself, and we've had you on the show a couple times. I'd love to have you in studio, but we wasn't ready for all set up to have a third guest in here. But like I say, man, just super proud of you to see you do so well. But let's talk a little bit about that event, because how much time did you have to practice for it?
So I fished Sunday the weekend before, and then I took off work Thursday and Friday to do some pre-fishing.
And, I mean, things changed fast on Smith. I mean, from what I've talked to other guys in the bass boat side, you know, 1 minute they're there, the next minute, 1 minute they're not there, the next minute they're there. And, I mean, they are coming up in a wave right now for spawning. And, I mean, that's pretty much how you ended up getting your win, was from bedding fish, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Half of the fish I caught were about sight fishing, and then the other half were most likely on beds. I just wasn't able to see them.
Was that shaky head? I mean, we know that's your main bait.
Yeah, Cinco and shaky head. Yep.
Yep. Man, I will tell you what, that was you could tell it was tough for a lot of guys, because the weights dropped off pretty quick after like 4th or 5th place, maybe something like that. I say weights, the inches. They fell off quick, and I was pulling it up here. I was looking. You had 91 inches. Dustin Good, a good friend of yours and ours, he had 88 inches with third. And then it got down to about 79, 70, and then it just started dropping. Like, I mean, it was dropped like a rock. And I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, we had the BFL going on. Did you have any issues with, you know, some of your fish getting plucked off, or that you maybe found in practice, or any boats kind of coming in on you?
No, not really. I mean, there was a fair amount of boats where I was throughout the day. Not a lot, but I mean, a decent amount. And most of my spots where I was at, I mean, a boat couldn't get to if they wanted. Not because of the depth or anything, but just because of the docks and how they were set up. Yeah. And any of the boats that I saw until about 1 o'clock, they were all fishing the ends of the docks and out deeper. And I mean, I'm sitting up against the bank, you know, flipping to bedded fish, and it seems like more of them got clued in a little bit throughout the day. But yeah, most of those guys were fishing deeper from what I saw.
It was crazy because we were up here Friday, and I was taking the kids fishing, just trying to get them on some fish and let them catch some nice ones. And I had a guy come up, and he had a nice 4.5, and he come on. He's like, man, can you please not catch this fish? Because Alyssa caught one that was very close to 6 pounds. right in front of them, And I feel kind of bad, because there's a tournament going on. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm trying to get my kids on some big fish. That's what keeps them going and keep them hooked and wanting to go more. And when I rolled up on this fish, I thought at first it looked like a 2 or 3 pounder. It really did, because I was so far away and she was deep. And flipped over to it. When that thing rolled up, and she was just squalling when I hit her the rod, man. But it was pretty cool to see that. But I like to say, we had so many guys that were coming in. I mean, up mid-lake, man, there was bass boats everywhere. And I mean, I'm talking, they were all doing the same thing. Weaving in and out of docks, you know what I mean? Looking behind them, marking. Did you have many marked during practice going into it?
I saw, man, so I fished that area on Thursday. And, the sun didn't really come out a whole lot. It got warm, but the sun didn't really come out a lot. And I just started seeing, I saw 2 fish that had moved up. That's all I saw. So I knew where those 2 fish were, but that's all that I saw, and that's kind of what clued me in that they were all coming up. I kind of knew that area was going to get better, but I pre-fished another area on Friday, hoping that was the area I really wanted to fish, and I was hoping that was going to get better from when I fished it on Sunday, and I went out there and didn't catch a fish. So, needless to say, I kind of knew where I was going to go. And just kind of hoping that what I thought they were going to do was going to happen, and it kind of worked out. So
now, through the tournament, did you keep your eye on the board much, or did you just kind of do your thing and whatever? I know most guys, they try not to check it, but so often. But when you start hammering fish like that, I mean, was it a slow day for you? I mean, did it take you all day to grind out a limit, or did you do some culling, or?
I guess I had a limit probably. I mean, it wasn't quick or nothing. It was probably close to 12:30, I would say, when I finally got a limit. And then I ended up, I went to another creek, and I caught 3 in there to fill my limit, and then lost another good one. And then I decided to go back to where I started and fish that again. And I knew there was a couple that I had fished for in the morning, and I just couldn't get them to eat. They weren't really locked in at all. But there was one spot where there was 3 of them. They were all about the same size, and they were good fish. And I ended up going back there and catching the male. And that was my last fish for the day, which was a 17 3/4, and put me back up there.
Yeah.
But as far as looking at the leaderboard and stuff, I do a lot of times. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like looking at it. They just won't look at it all day. But if I think I'm doing really good and got a shot at it, I'm looking at it. Every time I upload a fish, I'm like, where am I at? Did I drop? It really pushes me to just grind even harder. And I mean, I'll make moves. I feel like my mental game gets better when I'm looking at that.
Yeah. It's like you perform better under pressure.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be a lot of times. I mean, it doesn't always happen that way, and sometimes you can get spun out, but like for the most part, I think I do perform better, knowing that like I'm that close, or I am leading and I need another upgrade because I think somebody's going to pass me. Like, it's just a lot of it's a mental game, and it really drives me.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. I know, like, some of the events I've fished with you, and you're like, man, you look down and because I look for all our friends on there too, like if I'm looking to see where I'm at, and I'm like, man, Casey, he ain't got a limit yet. And then all of a sudden, like towards the end of the day, it's like, boom. You're like, God dang, I thought I had him this time. But no, it's pretty cool to be able to watch that board and see you kind of move up. And I'm like you too. Like, you start having a good day, it's hard not to watch it. You're always grinding for the next big one. You never stop. But it's always too, I think it's when you're really doing well, it's hard not to look at it, but when you're just kind of have a mediocre day, for me, I'm kind of like, man, it kind of spins me out sometimes because I'm like, man, I really need a 19 or 20 inch fish. You know what I mean? To really do this. So then sometimes I feel like it kind of hurts me a little bit, but I'm like you having a good day. You just want to look at it. It's, it's hard not to.
Yeah, most of the time, like if I'm not up near the top, or I'm not like on the fish that I think can put me in like the top 10, like I'm not really looking at it. But when you're up there and have that shot of winning it, especially, like that's when I'll look at it every time I move spots, or especially every time after you upload a fish, kind of make sure you know how many inches you just upgraded to and where it's putting you. And yeah, it just absolutely makes me grind that much harder. Like you said, man, you're always grinding. But for whatever reason, it's that mental game that I know I need to have locked in at that point. And a lot of times, I mean, there's so many decisions out there you can make. Hey, do I move over here, or do I go back to where, I caught 3 fish earlier? Like those decisions will make and break you. And for whatever reason, I seem to make those right decisions a lot of times when you're under pressure like that.
Well, a lot of it too comes is you put a lot of time in the water. So, and that's the stuff that people don't understand. Oh man, he catches a lot of fish, or my God, he's always, he's doing well all the time. And it comes with time in the water, and it's not just figuring out baits or figuring out fish. It's knowing when to make a move, or when to make a call. That's the little things that you start learning that are big in the long run. And like say, performing under pressure, that's something that comes along with tournament fishing as well. And plus, I mean, you were a big snowboarder, you were competitive in that, and I mean, you have to perform under pressure in something like that, So I think coming into this sport and being competitive still, and I think that's why you do well under pressure. You know what I mean? You've been in those situations many a times.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't always like this. And like, back when I first started fishing tournaments, it was a lot different. But like you said, the time on the water, like being in these situations before, it's not the first time. I mean, just as much time as you can get on the water, it just helps you tremendously, whether it's in a tournament or not. Just trying to figure those fish out and make those decisions.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of getting back into it a little bit, I mean, was there a fish that you knew that you had it sealed, using a seal to deal for the day, or was it just kind of like you didn't know until you got there at the end? I mean, was you still thinking that somebody might have beat you at the end?
Man, it was close. We were going back and forth quite a bit there at the end. I actually was fishing kind of around Dustin, and he was like, I bet he's bed fishing too. And I'm like, well, if he is, he's likely sitting on one right now that could probably, pass me again. And I will say the second fish I caught was the biggest one. It was like 20 and a quarter. And when I caught that one, I mean, obviously I wasn't quite set that I was going to win it, but that was like the first notion I got that like, hey, it's on right now and I can do really good in this event. And that was just my second fish. And then it actually took me a while to get a limit, but that was the only time where it went through my mind that I had a chance to win it. And luckily enough, I was able to put the rest of the day together and finish on top.
Yeah, like I say, I got to going back through Facebook, and everybody, was talking. I was trying to find out who did what, and I thought we actually seen you at one spot where we were at Mid Lake, but it's a guy out there has a boat looks just like yours, but off to a distance. I couldn't see no stickers or nothing. And a lot of times I can tell it's Casey because of the red net. He's got the red net. Yeah, I know that's Casey, but I couldn't tell that guy was far. And I didn't want to come up and bother you because if he was fishing tournament, I didn't want to bother you. But yeah, I was like, I know because I seen this guy off the end of the docks fishing. It looked like he was fishing a shaky head or some kind of finesse bait or something. I'm like, that's Casey. I know it is. He's throwing a shaky. He's throwing a shaky head. That's Casey for sure. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man. I mean, that's like I say, that's pretty impressive. So, what's well? Oh, sorry, Chris. We got a question.
You got 2 questions.
Oh, okay.
Clay wants to know what was your best bait.
The best bait, I caught the most fish on a shaky head. I started off throwing a Cinco, just being able to skip it up under docks real far, and usually I do pretty good on some sort of weightless bait during the spawn time. But for whatever reason, well, when I started fishing for those bedding fish, I switched over to the shaky head, and that's what I had in my hand the rest of the day pretty much. And it just, there's a few I caught under docks. There was one that was like right on the edge of the under dock. I didn't see it, but I skipped that shaky head right to it. And I mean, as soon as it hit the water, I seen the fish flash, and then it hit, and I think that was my limit fish right there. That was my 5th fish.
What do you say? We got another question, Chris?
Yeah, when bed fishing, do you go natural or something vibrant that you can see?
So the funny thing is, normally I do go something a little bright colored, like a white, a pink, something kind of bright. But I left everything at home, so I was actually throwing a green pumpkin, which is what I throw most of the time, and it made it a lot harder to not be able to see that bait. Plus, the fish kept picking it up by just the tail. And so I set the hook I don't know how many times, and only to have the bait come flying back at me because they just had the tail in their mouth.
Yeah.
So at that point, I ended up actually cutting the worm in half, making it a little shorter, and that helped a lot too.
Yeah, that's the tough part about it. And I normally go natural when I'm throwing stuff. Watermelon colors, green pumpkins. It does suck because you can't tell if he's got it good. But that's why you gotta really pay attention to feel and all that if he hits it. And like I say, even when they hit it, don't mean they got it. I mean, I've watched these guys come in and pick it up and take it and just drop it out their bed like they just got it on the tips of their lips. Like some of these fish ain't stupid. They're pretty daggone smart. It's just neat I love the spawn because I love seeing the different characteristics of each fish. Like each one acts different. Each one is different. And sometimes it's like that, like say you were using shaky head all day, but sometimes I've had tournaments like at Philpott where I've had to change up to 3 or 4 different baits and catch fish on 3 or 4 different baits, They just respond different to different baits. But I've never got, the only one time I think it was Chris when was at Philpott that I actually used a white lizard.
Yeah, a white lizard.
And that fish was like in 4 to 5 foot of water. And I just could not, I couldn't tell where my bait was going. You know what I mean? If it was even going into the bed with that natural color. So, yeah. But like I said, that's a good question. Chris, we got any other questions?
He said, did you have to catch any bucks to get them out of the way to get a female?
No, I never did that. No. I probably could have taken the time to try that, but for me, it just wasn't worth it. I've never actually done that before and tried it, so I don't know how. I mean, I've heard that happens a lot. I just don't know how quick it happens. Where, and I was just kind of there was plenty of fish up on the bed, so I was just covering water and finding the next one.
Yeah, sometimes it happens pretty quick. I got Tammy a couple years ago on a 5-pounder. I flipped over there and caught the buck off, and as soon as we were fighting it back, the big one rolled up on there. But we knew she was there. We seen it there. Sometimes the female ain't even around, when you pull the buck bass off. But if you see her off to the side and you pull that off, a lot of times it happens pretty quick. But sometimes the female will still be kind of skittish and won't pull up for a little while. So, yeah, you got to, especially in the kayaking side, your time is so limited. It ain't like a bass boat where you can run 100 miles an hour to the next one. You got to kind of take advantage of every fish you got on bed, and then maybe towards the end work on those big ones, But But no, that's a good question. You said we got another one, Chris?
Yeah. You ever try a Cinco on the shaky head for those picky bedfish?
No, for whatever reason, I've never tried that. I just kind of stuck on using that Zoom shaky head worm or the trick worm, and those are really the only two things I ever put on a shaky head.
Yeah, I don't even think I don't like throwing nothing too thick. Like I think a Cinco would probably be good. I hear people doing it, but it always seems like I like a thinner bait on a shaky head. I don't know, is this hook ratio or what? You know what I mean? I just like throwing something different. Now, when it comes to fishing your shaky head, Casey, I know you just got on with caching. What is your shaky head setup?
So they actually have a shaky head rod, which is perfect. I actually wasn't using it. I had a buddy. I don't actually have one yet, but I'm getting ready to place an order for one. But I was using it down in Florida. A buddy let me use it, and unfortunately, I broke his rod. So, but I was basically using their all-purpose spinning rod, which works great for it. I mean,
Yeah. Was you throwing what size were you throwing? You throwing a 16th or 8th or?
so it's actually a 3/16 ounce.
Okay, I got you. And do you go heavy? Do you go? What is the heaviest you would go? And then what's your normal size? What's the heaviest you go on a shaky head?
So usually it's 1/4 ounce.
Yeah, quarter. I use a quarter sometimes in a river, but I don't. Or if it's like wintertime, you know what I mean. You fishing some deep stuff.
Yeah, the only time I really like, and I mean, unless it's over, and most of the time I'm not fishing, much over 20 feet deep, but I'll still use that 3/16, 1/8 ounce, and 20 foot of water. But the time that I really go to that heavier bait is when that wind is just blowing, and I didn't used to. I mean, I was out on Lake Erie for a long time throwing in some killer winds and like 3-foot rollers, throwing a 1/8 ounce shaky head in 10 foot of water. But ever since then, I'd ended up switching over to a 1/4 ounce, and like every time the wind starts blowing a little more, I'll put on that heavier one, and it. I mean, it obviously it works a lot better, but it was always hard for me to switch it up from what I'm really comfortable and confident with.
Yeah. Now, what's your line setup? What pound line do you use when you shaky head?
So I use a 12-pound leader most of the time. I use the what is it? The Seagar Red Label.
Mm-hmm.
That the 12-pound. Sometimes I'll go up to like a 14, and down to a 10, but most of the time it's 12-pound, and then I throw a braid, 30-pound braid to that leader.
Wow. So I don't think I've ever used anything over 8-pound line on a shake. Not unless I'm throwing on a bait caster or something. I'm fishing like deep stuff like a big worm. Do I throw a heavier line? But I've never thrown nothing bigger. That's interesting. I might have to, especially like around Smith with docks and you're fishing brush. That's a lot better option. Is that
Yeah? I mean,
line.
really with everything you got, brush, rocks, docks, like. Dragging it through the rocks, even, it'll get frayed up, and I just like that 12 and docks. You'll get a couple wrap you up around the dock post, around a limb, and sit there and pull around that limb for a few minutes, and while you're trying to get it, and I just like that heavier line to hold up as best as possible in there.
Yeah, for sure, and that makes sense. I guess because I've always, when I fish finesse, if I'm throwing a drop shot or shaky head, that's what I threw. But I've lost a lot of fish because of line breakage of getting in wrapped around stuff, and it's I've always looked at it like it's just a chance you take when you throw stuff like that in there. But never really threw 12 on there. I might end up having to try that. Just seeing, especially with the Seagar, I throw the InvisiX a lot, and
yeah, a lot of people say they like that. I'm just for that 12-pound. I love that 12-pound Red Label.
Yeah.
I've gone heavier with it, and I don't really like it. the 10's good too, but definitely the 12 for that red label is good, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Seaguar, man. Seaguar's been I've used Sniper, and not saying nothing wrong with it, but I've had some issues. I seem like I have more issues with that line. I've tried P line. James has tried P line. Just never had a lot of success. And then we go to Seaguar, and it's like we just don't have no issues. It's been a great line, and I love it. So, but Chris, did you say we had another question or?
No.
Okay, I thought you said.
Oh no. Robert wants to know who his nemesis is.
His nemesis.
Well, I guess Robert's trying to say he's my nemesis. I guess he is in the online events, man. Me and him always seem to go back and forth quite a bit for fishing those KBF online events. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you, and I've always liked watching you and Jason Hensley and all of them going at on those things too, and especially doing the state challenges and all that. I always like watching those, man. You guys were. I never had the opportunity to go up there and fish those lakes that you guys fish, and I have, but not to the level that you guys are able to go up there and fish it and get on those big fish. But I know Jason posts pictures, and all of a sudden I see you comment, and then all of a sudden you're posting pictures. And then Jason, he's like, man, I got to get on the water. Casey done caught a big one again. But are they is the KBF doing any of the, the night tournaments, like the one night stand or whatever? I can't remember what they called them. Are they doing anything like that this year too?
Yeah, I think there's one this month, I believe, coming up sometime soon.
I need to get. I like those. I didn't do well in them, but I like them. They were fun to do, and get out there and kind of push you to do it. I like to fish more kayak stuff this year, tournament wise. I'm going to do a lot more kayak fishing, but I just haven't had a chance to do many tournaments. But what's on the agenda for Casey this year? Well, I mean, I know you're kind of fishing a little bit of everything. I mean, you're gonna be doing bass and KBF stuff and all that. I mean, are you doing any Hobies this year?
I'm thinking about trying to make it up to the Mississippi River, the Hobie event up there. There's a bass one. I think it's after the Hobie one. But if I can pull some vacation time, I may try to make both of those because I need a little redemption from last year, man. I did pretty good up there last year, and from what I learned from when that tournament started to now, I think I can do really good up there.
Yeah, that's what I think that's the event that me and James might try to fish this year is the one in La Crosse, and just that's a bucket list area, anyways. Talking with other pros and they're always like, you need to get rid of La Crosse and fish. So, they say you can catch a largemouth and a smallmouth off the same piece of structure, So, I really want to get up there and fish that. I think that's the one we're going to fish. What's your next event that you got coming up?
So, got Eufaula coming up. I think the first week of May or something like that. I'm really excited about that. Not only to go fish Eufaula, but get down there to the Hummingbird headquarters. I think I'm gonna have a little tour set up to be able to go in there and kind of check it out and meet some of the Hummingbird guys.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that whole thing.
I mean, you got quite the setup on your boat right now with the Hummingbirds. I mean, how's that working out for you? Have you liked it so far with the double graphs and all that?
Yeah, man, the 2 graphs it's awesome. Haven't really got a lot of time with the 360 yet. That'll come during the summer. I'm gonna really, put it on and get to using it quite a bit. That'll be the time it'll really shine, anyways, for me.
Yeah.
But the 2 graphs, I mean, you just more screen. It's easier to see. It's bigger. Yeah, I love it.
I think it's pretty cool. That's something me and James had in mind for our boats with the Slayer and the Titan, and just never really got to it. Heck, we're still learning the Panoptics and the live scope and stuff. We don't, it's stuff like that you don't get a lot of time to play with. we were always just kind of going. If you went out there, you're fishing a tournament, and you just didn't want to waste time playing with it much during a tournament, So that's why we've kind of taken it back and was fishing, just going fishing to learn electronics a little bit more and do better with it. And but like I say, that 360, especially the new stuff they got coming out here soon with the live and with their 360 live, I think that stuff is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it when it comes out. I think it'll be good, and I don't know. I haven't committed to getting it yet, but we'll see. I'll probably end up with it sooner or later.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna have guys running it. You know what I mean? That's just like the live scope. That's getting more and more. You're seeing more and more guys running that. It's hard not to have it when you're fishing big events like that. When it's a tool. So it's getting harder and harder not to have some of that stuff, and just to watch people Dustin Connell when he won his event, using I think his was the Lowrance Live, and to be able to jerkbait fish with stuff like that, that was pretty cool to watch him catching fish on a jerkbait. I don't know if you was able to watch that event on Major League Fishing, but to watch him be able to catch fish on a jerkbait on that dude was just insane.
Yeah, it seems like it's been showing out for those guys a lot recently, and like you said, it's a tool. I mean, I feel like I don't feel like it's such a game changer. A lot of people are kind of making it out to be.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a tool, and when you need it, and when it's working, when you can catch fish like that, I mean, it's definitely it's a must have. But I don't think it's one of those things where you're going to be using it every single tournament, every single fish catch, and everything like that. But
no, I mean it's going to come to a point where you're going to be pitching shallow water. You know what I mean? When you're fishing docks, you can see them under there, but it's not going to be that thing. You're going to be glued to it all the time. You know what I mean? Like it could be a time and place. It's kind of like the what's that thing that makes the noise? I just slipped my mind. But anyways,
the hydro wave.
Yeah, the hydro wave. I mean, it's one of them things. It's a tool, but it's got its time and place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Chris, you said we got a question?
Yeah, he I believe Robert wants to know if he's fishing the Potomac.
So I actually just found out today that I think the Potomac is the same day as Eufaula. Unfortunately, as much as I need points in KBF, I think I'm skipping it out and fishing the BASS event down at Eufaula.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be a good fishery. It'll be Potomac's good too, though. That would be tough. That's a tough decision there.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have struggled every time I've been to the Potomac, I'd probably make a different decision. But to be able to go to Eufaula, a place I've never been before, and the hummingbird factories there, get kind of set up with those guys, meet them. It's really a trip that I really want to make. So
yeah.
Hopefully I can get points somewhere else in the KBF series and stay in that top 10.
Yeah. You're having another good year. And is there anything else? I know you're talking about Eufaula and all that. Is there any other lake that you're really excited about getting to this year, besides Eufaula?
Let me think. I mean, the Mississippi River was the other one. I mean, I was looking forward to that ever since we left there last year. I mean, I guess Possum Kingdom.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big one.
Yeah, that one's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited for it, and as long as let's go out there and kind of see what Matthew Scotch puts up, because apparently he knows that lake pretty well. So we'll see what he does out there, and try to keep up with him.
That's right, man. The hometown advantage can be good, and sometimes it can hurt you. Apparently, though, for Casey, it's always good. So, especially here at Smith, so it's good. It's good, and Sandy and all that. So you guys kill it and do really well, and it's awesome to see you guys doing well. But Chris, we got anything else for Casey before we let him go?
No.
Casey, man, I appreciate you taking the time, buddy, to come on tonight. And I know it was last minute, but we always have a good time. And we need to get together, man, and go out and do some fishing. Maybe we'll go out and do a Friday nighter or something like that, fish a night tournament sometime.
Yeah, dude. This weekend heading out. Let me know if you want to go.
All right, man. Well, that sounds good. Oh, that's it. That you know what? That I did want to get to that. I'm sorry, but the shad spawn gear to kick in. Do you think that's kicking in this weekend, or do you think I seen them up there swimming around today?
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see any where I was, but no, I'm always looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that to get started.
That is that's probably I always tell people that I fish with, if you need to at least go do it once. It is the most fun that you'll have when it comes to throwing like a topwater bait down the rocks. It feels like every single cast that you just hold your breath until you get your lure back in because you don't know if it's about to blow up at any moment.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could show everybody. Like, I mean, there's some nights it's not as good as others, but
Yeah.
I just remember being out there a few different nights and like just the whole lake comes alive. I mean, if you're back in a creek, like I was back in Craddock Creek, and everywhere, every bank you can see out there, you can just hear blow ups. You can hear the shad flicking.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And
it's ferocious.
those are the nights I look forward to, and those are the nights where I just won't sleep until the shad go down.
Yeah. And it's a ferocious bite too. You know what I mean? It ain't like every once in a while they just suck a buzzbait under, or they just kind of barely pop a popper sometimes. I mean, it's vicious, dude, when they hammer it. It's fun. It's a fun bite, and that is something I wanted to talk to you tonight, but I'm not going to go too far into it now. But like I say, I did want to tell you, one of the creeks I was in, Mid-Lake, I come up, I actually was looking for a bedding fish, and I seen some shad right there on the bank coming by, and I was like, uh-oh. It's about to happen here soon. I'm thinking another week. It's probably week or 2 weeks it's going to get really good. Because normally it starts, once the second wave of bass come up spawning, is when that bite really starts going. So, looking forward to that, man. But yeah, we need to get together sometime and go out there and do that. And, maybe fish a Tuesday night or a Friday night or something.
Oh, speaking of that, my plan is this year I'm going to put a live well in the back of the kayak and fish some of the nighters out of the kayak.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be awesome. I'd like to see that. I wanted to do it out of captain's quarters. I wanted to do one of those Tuesday nighters, out of captain's quarters one time.
Yeah, I'm definitely, my plan is to do that this year. And I want to fish the ones that are, like the Friday, Saturday events that go till, 2, 3 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I think the weekday tournaments might be a little tough just because you're limited on time.
Mm-hmm.
But those ones that go all night, man.
Yeah.
That's what I can't wait for too. Yeah. That's going to be fun.
It is. I just like to see I like to see a kayak guy beat some of the bass boat guys. I mean, I like running the bass boat tournaments and fishing in them and running a bass boat. But I think it's cool when a guy come in and kayak and do well, So I'm looking forward.
The thing that I learned last year was, because I fished a few of those night tournaments with some of my friends that have boats, and you just can't fish it like you can in a kayak, man. You can't fish it as good. You just can't. You can't stay quiet enough. You can't get to where you need to be. And every time we fish, we really struggle.
Yeah.
And I really think it was because of that. It was just I was trying to fish. I was trying to tell everybody in the boat that was driving the boat. I'm like telling them where they needed to be, but it just they couldn't make it happen.
Yeah. And, well, you're scared of tearing a boat up.
Yeah, I mean you'll tear your boat up. You'll you hit those rocks, scare the fish. It's just you can't get in between the docks, like you can. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I can get in between docks and get in and out, before a bass boat can even get in there most of the time. So,
yeah,
if it can even get in there.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely different during the bass boat events compared to fishing in a kayak. I think the kayak on the night bite is a blast. Like I say, you can hear them hit the bottom of the boat. I've had the stripers was chasing them one day up in there, and I could hear them thumping the bottom of my boat. And I was like, what in the world, man? You know, or you shiny light down, they're all right there beside you, you know, when you come up in a kayak. They're so stealthy with it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it. And I'm hoping to do some videoing out there this year, getting set up to do more night videoing. So looking forward to doing that. But yeah, we definitely got to get together, man. But I appreciate it, Casey. I always have a good time getting you on talking. You say you got something, Chris?
No.
Oh, I thought you said something. I always have a good time talking with you, and like I said, we need to get together and do some more fishing.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys having me on again. I'd love to do it anytime, man. Just let me know.
All right, Casey. You have a good one, man. Have a good night, and good luck the rest of this year, buddy.
All right, man. You do the same. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. All right. Like I say, we've had Casey on. Like, Casey lives like 10 or 15 minutes off the road. So I really wanted to have him in the studio tonight, but I wasn't going to do that. Be like, dude, you got to hurry him get over here. You know, I just wasn't going to do that tonight. So, but we did need to get him in and get him in the studio again and just kind of chit chat, talk about fishing. It's always fun talking with Casey. He is just he's put so much time in and you know, kind of building his craft there, I guess. And he's just done really well with it, man. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of these Virginia guys. Dustin Good is another one. There's a lot of these guys that I fish with in the Virginia Kayak Bass Challenge that, you know, when you fish a tournament against them guys, they're the ones that you're always wondering especially when they ain't put nothing on the board. Because you're like, crap. You know they're going to dump them at the end of the day. And Casey and Dustin and Nathan Green was one of them. Jason Hensley, you know, they're just the ones that I fish with. There's other guys now like Robert Brown and all them that put some good fish on the boards that I know, you know, around here. Mark Edwards. Now, you know, like I haven't had a chance to fish with any of these guys here lately, but they were the ones that I always was worried about when you fish a tournament. You know, and you got 80 inches, you're like, man, you know darn well they got 90. You know, it's just what you think the whole time. So, but no, it was good. It was good having them on. It was nice having some good old kayak guys on and talking kayak fishing. I'm looking forward to getting back out there. Chris, we got to get yours ready, and we need to get out there on the water, man. I'm here next 2 weeks, dude. It's going to be shad spawn time.
Illumina Nathan wants to know, do you know anyone that would customize a pedal drive for the SF-127?
Customize a pedal drive. I talked with Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters the other day, and he has an idea for something that he would like us to try. It just depends on what kind of pedal drive system you're wanting. I mean, because you can't just make any of them work. That's the problem. You know, guys like talking about putting trolling motors in the pod. It works. The problem that you run into is steering, for one. You really need a rudder for it to really make it. You know, and I know if he's putting a pedal drive in, he knows he's going to need a rudder for that. I get that. But, like, you know, guys putting trolling motors and stuff in the pods, and it's hard to get the motor out real quick because if the blades are turned the wrong way, you can get it out, but you can't get it out fast enough if you need to. And that's the thing when you do, like, a pedal drive on these boats. Like, guys, we had somebody message us a while back wanting to know if we could put a Hobie drive in a Bonafide, and it's just the way the fins are on that thing and the way the Bonafide is made, it's hard to get that in there low enough to do what you need to do, you know, to be able to make it efficient and work right. I don't know. Maybe one day that's something me and James can play with and try out, but as the way business is right now and this time, it's so busy that it's hard to get into too many new projects that are off the course of what we're doing right now. With the bow mount and stern mount. And the bow mount right now has been the thing. It's been crazy what the bow mount market's like, and we're really excited to see it growing. We feel like between New Canoe and us, like we really set the bar on. I don't know if set the bar is the right word. Just being a part of the industry that actually helping something grow. You know, I think that's where we're at. Like, it's just cool to know that we're part of something that's growing because of, like, New Canoe and us. You know, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or big-headed about that. It's just a lot of boats out there now with bow mounts with our mounts, you know, with the Hobies. And we did just get it to where the Hobie 17, our PA12, PA14 fits the PA17. We're now getting questions about the PA17 with the bow mount. So we're working on that too. You know, there's things that we're working on. We're really trying to get into the Old Town side of things now and working with that. So got some things that are in the works. People have been asking about those, so we're excited to try to get into that side and seeing what we can do to make that work and get these bow mounts on some Old Towns. So, but other than that, Chris, we got any other questions that's come through? Or
Craig says he's done 4 bow mounts in the last month rigging.
Yeah. Craig's been a big part of helping us out, figuring out some of these things, and getting us some content as well. He's done 2 Hobies. He did his wife's RS. That's how the joke got started. He got that bow mounted, and then it was one other one he was doing. But we get a lot of stuff too with the Hobie Outback. So if you guys are in the Virginia area, whether it be Bedford or whether it be down there in Newport, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, any of that stuff, if you got a Hobie Outback, a newer Hobie Outback, like I think it's an 18 or 19, let us know, man. We work out something. We'd love to use your boat just to get a bow mount put on there, and possibly a stern mount. So just do some rigging. We'll work with you, you know, whatever we can do to help out. But that's kind of where we're at right now. We really want to try to get an Outback. We get a lot of demand for it. So if you guys are in the Virginia area, want to help out with, we always tell people if we can get your boat for about a week, that gives us time, because we got, like I say, with the 2 of us, just trying to get product out there and getting it built and sent out to customers that already bought stuff, and then on top of trying to do the rigging, making the mount and doing the R&D and testing, getting video, install stuff, and the introduction video, all that stuff. It takes a week. It takes a good week to get it all done. So if anybody's interested in anything like that, or if you have a boat that we think would be a good selling point or certain brands that ain't out there yet and you live close, hey, let us know. We're always interested in trying to do more mounts and getting guys rigged up and getting bow, stern mounts and all that stuff. So, but other than that, guys, if you're still here, if you haven't checked out our shirts, go to oneobjectivebf.com, get some swag. We got the American flag shirt, got our established date 2016. Also got some stickers. Also got a few more hats on there. We plan on doing a few more things. We got a few more things in the works too that is coming, I'm hoping, in the next 3 weeks. That is our plan. One maybe early, it should be here quicker, but the other one is going to be big. So stay tuned for that, guys. We're really excited to be releasing a new product by One Objective. We got so much more that's going to be coming towards the website, especially once this product hits, and then of it growing and getting bigger and having more options to do things, whether it be fishing and all that. So just stay tuned, guys. We got a lot coming. Really excited about it. I got to bite my tongue right now because I really want to tell everybody the new product, but I can't. James will slice my head off if I say anything right now. So, but I want to have it in our hands before we say anything, So, but excited about it. You guys stay tuned. It's gonna be great. I think people are gonna like it. We got anything else, Chris?
No.
Guys, if you don't mind, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button here if you're watching right now. It helps, the likes just really help us get our stuff out there, our content out there. Also, if you like, you can go check us out on Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, all the major podcast platforms. If you're on iTunes, please give us a rating. Let us know what you think of our show. Preferably good, not bad, but give us a rating. Let us know what we need to either get better at or or what you like about it. That we love hearing. We like seeing reviews. So. But other than that, guys, I'll talk to you later. You guys have a